Hello friends, my name is Masood. Today we shall discuss about topic the sprint backlog. Friend, today's topic is very interesting, especially if you have interest in Scrum framework and project management and you want to learn about it. So let's start. Sprint backlog is basically the key artifact in the Scrum framework. Scrum is a framework which we used for project management and software development, and nowadays it is a very popular framework which we used for software development. The sprint backlog is basically the subset of the product backlog. Product backlog is basically the complete set of requirements which we needs to develop for the product, and the sprint backlog is basically the subset of the product backlog which we have taken it from the product backlog so that we can focus on the requirements which needs to be developed during the sprint. For example, you are implementing an e-commerce solution for a customer, and the product backlog has 40 requirements or features which needs to be developed. So the product backlog is containing 40 requirements or feature set. Now when the sprint is starting, sprint is a 3 to 4 week time period in which the development team will plan, develop and deploy the requirements. So we have taken the 10 features from the product backlog. So the 10 features which we have taken from the product backlog, now it will become as the sprint backlog. Okay, so that is basically the concept of sprint backlog, which is basically a subset of the product backlog. So the sprint backlog is created during the sprint planning meeting and is used by the development team, Scrum development team, to guide their work throughout the sprint. Now the first thing, that it is derived from the product backlog. Friend, always remember that the sprint backlog is deriving from the product backlog. That means sprint backlog is a subset of the product backlog. If the product backlog has 40 tasks and you have taken 10 tasks, product backlog has 40 features and you have taken 10 features from the product backlog. So the 10 features which you have taken from the product backlog, it will become as the sprint backlog. It is a prioritized list of all the work that needs to be done on the product, and the feature the team will focus only on those features which we have taken it from the product backlog, that is a sprint backlog. Selection during the sprint planning. Friend, when the team is conducting the sprint planning meeting in which the Scrum development team, product owner, Scrum master, they all are participating. So during the sprint planning meeting, the product backlog items are displayed, discussed, that these are the product backlog items, and from those product backlog items, the sprint backlog item, the features which the team will prioritize, team will select that okay, on those features we will work during the upcoming sprint. So that basically selection is occur during the sprint planning meeting. Then the dynamic nature. A sprint backlog is dynamic in nature. That means it evolved during the sprint. Sprint is a 3 to 4 week time period in which the team learns more about the work, the requirements, and it basically evolve. Like at the time of product backlog, it is a high level requirement, but during the sprint the requirement become more evolved, more elaborated, so it becomes dynamic in nature as well. Owned by the development team. That means the sprint backlog is owned by the Scrum development team. Scrum development team, the core development team, which is basically consists of, for example, software designer, developers, the deployment team. So they are responsible for deciding how to turn the selected product backlog item into a potentially shippable product increment by the end of the sprint. Detailed and refined means the sprint backlog items are more detailed and refined as compared to the product backlog. Product backlog items are only the high level items, and the sprint backlog items are more detailed, and also they are broken down into tasks or subtasks that are small enough to be completed within the sprint as well. Then estimation means the sprint backlog items include the estimation for each task or subtask to provide the team with a sense of the effort required for completion. So based on the sprint backlog items, the estimation will be done. Then daily stand-up reference. The sprint backlog serve as a reference during the daily scrum or stand-up meeting, in which the basically the scrum development team, the scrum master, product owner, they are participating, and every team member is basically discussing what they have completed yesterday, what they are doing today, and what are the impediments, bottleneck issues they are facing. So in this meeting, the sprint backlog become a more important document, a more important reference point, and they can discuss accordingly as well. Adaptability. Scrum development team can adopt the sprint backlog throughout the sprint as they gain a better understanding of the work, or if there are changes in the priorities or requirements as well. We know that the Scrum framework is more adaptable, they are more agile, and the coming changes which are coming in the Scrum can be easily adopted in the Scrum framework. So whatever the changes are coming and priorities are changing, so Scrum is more adaptable in that sense as well. Visible and transparent means the sprint backlog is visible to the entire Scrum team. Normally we can use the Google Docs as well, so that every team member can access the sprint backlog easily, and it promotes transparency, collaboration, visibility, and everyone knows the status of the sprint backlog easily, especially the Scrum development team. Then burn down chart. Burn down chart is basically a chart which visually represents the work which has been completed and the work remaining over the course of the sprint. Basically it is a tool used by the team so that everyone knows that how much work is remaining, and the remaining work can be focused on the remaining time as well. Definition of done. Friend, each task or subtask in the sprint backlog must adhere to the team's definition of done. That means the criteria at which the we will consider that particular task has been completed. Friend, we know that when we are working, many times it happens, confusion occur that at which criteria you will consider the work has been completed. So it should be communicated at an early stage. Incremental development means the goal of the sprint backlog is to guide the team in delivering a potentially shippable increment of the product by the end of the sprint. So once the sprint ends, it will add a functionality in the working software. Collaboration with the product owner means the sprint backlog is basically a very important document based on the team can collaborate with the product owner, seeking clarification or additional information on the sprint backlog items. Completion at a sprint review. Once the sprint completed and you are basically demonstrating, the Scrum team is demonstrating the working software, so sprint backlog is very important reference point at that level, because the work which has been committed and work which you are displaying, which you are demonstrating based on the sprint backlog. Friend, the sprint backlog is a critical tool in Scrum, providing the development team with a clear plan for achieving the sprint goal and delivering a valuable product increment at the end of the sprint. It fosters collaboration, transparency, and adaptability within the Scrum team.